All right, Tom. Let's hear it.
Not good. My wife's going to a lawyer. There's no turning back from this. There's been things that my kids have seen. They probably shouldn't have seen. They probably shouldn't have heard. No physical abuse or anything like that. Nothing like that. My wife has been. I don't know. She's been telling me that this marriage has been detached for 2 to 3 years. She just has enough courage right now to walk away because of in this last argument, Chris, I know I've reached out to you, Justin. I mean, I've found more messages that don't base they don't. How do I want to say it? They don't convict her of it, but it definitely in my head, it's definitely crossed the line. And I don't know what to do. She wants me to leave the house today. Um, and I have no idea what to do.
Well,
I have
give us some specifics on the situation because there's people who don't know what you're talking about.
so my wife has basically, from what she said, has been on autopilot in this marriage for a long time. I joined the Rising Fathers program to try to put all my chips in a basket and change. Made huge progress in 6 months as my relationship, but for some reason we were getting more distant than we were before I joined. And I confronted her about it, and she was just very combative and saying, I don't know why. So as things progressed and I started noticing her really spending more time and attention with friends that aren't good influences. One's going through a very nasty divorce. The other one is a lesbian who was previously straight. Whatever happened, she had kids and then married another woman. And I had saw her and this lesbian in a pool. My wife was rubbing her arm. It was very natural looking. I so my first thought is my wife is very open to maybe some things. Um, and it really hasn't stopped any of her attention, and any time she has went over their house. I mean, she has not been in the right frame of mind in a sense of, I mean, she's been going there to drink, and she is probably one of the most alpha males I've ever met in my life. She will not long. Um, I've went through her phone. I've seen messages of this girl calling her baby girl, and my wife writing back, like hearts, like okay, the heart, and I'm being called crazy, guys. I mean, I've had terrible thoughts in my head because all I've been saying is that this is my fault. I fucked my kids up. They need therapy now. I don't know what to do because all through it, I still want my marriage and I just can't let go of her. And she thinks that I'm treating her like a possession. And I have no idea what the fuck to do. No idea. One day I accept it, the next day I don't. There's nothing I can do. She doesn't trust me. She doesn't feel safe with me. She said, I told you 6 months ago I was checked out, and you made it so much worse in 6 months. She doesn't want to own up to anything she's done to this. And I don't know how to let go.
Well, there's a lot there, Tom. There's us objectively listening to this. Well, first off, how much time do you have?
Probably about 20 minutes.
Okay. So over the 6 months, right? You should have been coming on these calls and talking about this. right? Because this is on the group call. I think this is the first time any of us have ever heard about this. Like that is what you invested in, right? You invested in group coaching and in us helping you with these problems. So you got to use this resource. Just purchasing a drill and not using it does nothing for you. You have to use the drill and you have to use the tools given to you. So good job coming on the call and actually letting people help you with this. Because if you are part of the Men of Fire program but don't participate and don't do anything and don't let us help you, then you're not really using it. But
Yeah, and she just kept
because you're
telling
hold
me,
on, wait a second. Because you're on the call right now, now we can actually help you. Okay. So you just told us about your situation. There's things like, and this is very, whenever we do these calls and we're talking about like marriage issues, that's why this past Saturday on the marriage call was so amazing and so great. Like we had 8 couples, I think, which I wasn't expecting that many. So like 8 couples, which is fantastic. Like that is to fix your marriage, right? That is a tool you can use to fix your marriage. Is that's why we do the marriage calls. Um, so we're able to hear both sides of the story. So whenever we hear you or anyone saying like this is what's going on in my marriage, it's me, my wife's an asshole, it's all her, it's none me, then that's only one side of the story, right? So what we have to do is be extremely open and honest, and we can just hear what you're saying, right? It's like I'm hearing what Tom's saying. If your wife was on the call with you, what would she say? So you said over the last 6 months, um, you said over the last 6 months, things have gotten worse. And she said you've been getting worse. So what have you been doing in her eyes to make? And this is coming through your words. So what have you been doing over the last 6 months that she thinks you're getting worse at? You're getting more possessive, more jealous. What?
yeah, because I felt like even in a sense of not like getting any indication that like, hey, not being told something, but being like feeling something that like, hey, what I'm doing is right. And what she's telling me, she's like, and I tried to explain it. She's like, the men's club you're in is a cult. You talk to me like you're a coach, you're a therapist, and I'm just trying to figure out the deeper root. And she's like, you've changed and all this stuff to where I don't even want to be around you. I can't talk to you. You're not my coach. You're not my dad. So that's why I went ghost, because I'm like, holy fuck, this isn't working. This isn't working.
Yeah, I mean,
But
just being part of this, being in the group of Men of Fire program is not going to fix your marriage. You have to reach out. Like I don't think the last weekly check-in I have from you was maybe 5 months ago. You have to do the coaching. You have to be part of the calls. You have to participate. You have to grow. I mean, you have to do the physical part, right? Um, like so I'm not going to baby you right now, Tom. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. Like you haven't really participated and engaged in the program that I laid out for you. You have to, the reason the physical part of this program is here is so that you can build yourself. If you cherry pick and say, I'm going to do this thing, I'm not going to do the other thing, I do what I feel like, I don't feel comfortable today, so I'm not going to do that, then you're doing Tom's program and not Chris's program. And if you, like, say your wife gave you some feedback and said, you're not my coach, and then you came on the call the next week and said what she said, then I would say, yeah, Tom, you're doing it wrong, right? Because I remember Ahmed on a specific call said that he was open and honest with us and said, yeah, with my wife, I was trying to get her to do what I was doing, and like I was talking to her wrong, and then we all talked about it, and we all learned together about how we have to say a correct message with the right tone, but you missed that. All right, we talked about the right communication style with our wives. So you can't say, I learned this thing in this group, do this. And we talked about that months ago. So there's a lot to learn here, Tom. There's a lot to do. Um, Purely putting a rising father shirt on doesn't mean you're doing the things that we're teaching or following the program. You have to be involved. You have to listen to the nuance of it, right? Like, no, none of us are wives coaches, and we talked about that at length over the past months and on our marriage call, right? This past week, is as we said, you could be right in your message but wrong at the top of your voice, but you missed that because you weren't there. Okay. These are important things that we go over that can help you with your marriage. So yes, I could believe that. And there are some guys who have done that where they learn something and then they're 1 month into their marriage and they say, hey, I learned this. You should do that. and we talk about this maybe once a week, is, being, like you said, your marriage has been falling apart for 3 years now. So like you're in a group for 1 month, and you say, hey, I'm better. I've learned this thing. Now you need to do that. We've talked about that over and over again about it takes a long time to fix your marriage. So you can't
Well, I don't
expect.
have one anymore.
So here's the deal, man. You can accept the way things are, or you can change. That's it. And if you join this to fix your wife, then that is not correct. As we've said from day one, the only person you can fix is you. That's why this is a total transformation program. That's why you fix your body, your discipline, your mindsets, your routines, you time block, and you become a disciplined person. Through that transformation, everything you touch can change. But if you say, I'm going to purchase this thing and I hope my wife changes so I can love her, then that's not going to happen.
But what do you do when you're sitting here and someone is telling you these awful, awful things, like awful things? And it's like, what does she mean this?
This is
Like,
like, Tom, this is a symptom of a problem that started decades ago. And what I can tell you how I would respond if my wife said something like that to me today. But there's novels and novels and books of history behind that I have no idea. Like if Sarah came to me and said, "You're an asshole," I would respond pretty strongly. And I would say, we don't talk to each other like that. But that's also backed up by years of us having conversations, by talks. We're reading a marriage book together right now to make our marriage even stronger. We have a pretty strong marriage, but we're still reading marriage books and trying to strengthen our marriage. So if Sarah said that to me, it would mean something completely different than if your wife said that to you. So if someone is like, that's a very specific micro situational question, right? Is how would you respond if your wife said this to you? That's like saying, if you have cancer and your skin's tingly, what should I do about it? It's like, okay, but you have cancer. It's in your bones. I can tell you what to do about the tingling sensation in your face, but it can't cure the cancer. What I'm hearing from you, Tom, more so than is a possessiveness. It's a just like I talked to you one on one about a month ago about this very same thing, right? And you talked to Justin and you talked to Tom one on one on the calls. And that's not what this program is. This program isn't one on one coaching. I do one on one coaching with some guys, but that's not what this is. But we still took your call and we still helped you out with that. And on that call, what we told you is I said, you're being too possessive. I said, you sound like you're being jealous. It sounds like you are trying to control who your wife is. And a month later, Tom, you're telling me the same things. Did you take the feedback I gave you and make an adjustment?
yeah, yeah, I did, and I
What
just
did you
kept it.
what did you do? What did
I
you do that
accept,
was different?
I
Because you're
accepted
telling
her.
me the same things you told me a month ago.
I took your advice and said, you either got to get divorced or you accept her for who she is. And I started to do that. And she just kept knowing exactly what was making me jealous and just doing it and doing it, doing it and doing it to the point where I don't even know who the fuck I am.
So that's you right now. You're in some shit. You're in a chaotic shitstorm right now. That's who you are. You have to accept that. So what should you do, Tom? Should you blow up and spiral? What's the entire point of this program? It is you mastering yourself. So when you're in a shitstorm, you can show up better. If for 6 months you haven't followed the program and haven't built yourself into a disciplined person, plus your marriage is on fire, guess what? You fucked yourself. So what can you do right now, whether you continue with this program or not? My advice to you, Tom, is to work on Tom. You need to work on yourself. If all you're going to do today is for 12 hours worry about your wife and her reactions to you and what she's going to say to you, nothing is going to improve. Her mind is made up. You can't control her. There's not one sentence I can tell you that you can magically tell your wife right now that's going to solve your marriage. Tell her I love you. It's not going to solve your marriage. If Tom changes, you have a chance of changing something, but you have a 100% chance of changing you. You have a chance of changing someone else, but that's not why you're doing this. If you yourself change, everything you interact with changes. But if you do not change and you're only worried about things you can't change, then nothing changes and you probably make it worse.
So do I leave?
I didn't tell you that. Did you listen to what I just said?
Yeah. I want to change myself.
But are you going to do it? Because I told you this a month ago. And I haven't seen any check-ins. I haven't seen any accountability. I haven't seen any workouts done. I haven't seen any discipline. What probably happened for the last 30 days, you just bitched and moaned and worried about something you couldn't control and made yourself worse. It's probably what happened for 30 straight days. And you probably
Yeah.
got even more miserable, right? You probably got more negative, more pessimistic, and your marriage probably got worse. What would have
Yeah.
happened if after we talked 30 days ago, all of a sudden you started working out, all of a sudden you started eating healthy, you started taking care of yourself and felt really good, confident, you became a happier person?
Shit probably wouldn't have bothered me.
Yeah. And possibly maybe your relationship would have changed because you would have attracted your wife to you. But you have to listen whenever we give you this kind of instruction. If you keep on doing things your way, then there's no point in being here. There's no point in listening to anyone. I know Kenny told you a similar thing. I know Justin told you a similar thing.
Yeah, there's really no excuse. So, I mean, I am in my situation because of me.
And it sucks to say that. And I wish I could just say, no, everything's going to be all fine. Everything you did is perfect, but that's not me coaching. That's just me lying to you. So you have to accept where you are and you have to do what's best for you and your relationship, your marriage. I don't know, like maybe you did something that you're not telling us. I don't know that, right?
Yeah, she thinks, yeah, I mean, she thinks that I think she's, gay or something went on like this because I've just never seen anything like this from anybody. And I tried to explain to her that this woman is attracted to the same thing that I'm attracted to. And it's just like, maybe your attentions are harmless, but what about hers?
See, and even right now, you're still completely fixated on the wrong thing. You're fixated on this situation that is making you like full of jealousy and rage that you cannot, it's something you can't control.
Yeah, I don't know how to not have control.
That's the problem. Because you're obsessed with trying to control something you can't control, it's making you enraged and miserable.
Yeah.
You know, Don Quixote, the folk tale, the guy who sees a, that's you right now. You're obsessed with something you cannot control. And so as long as you continue like this, you're going to make yourself crazy and you're going to make yourself full of rage. Whether your marriage continues or not, for you, Tom, you have to let go. Okay. You have to let go. You have to stop trying to control things you can't control and you have to work on yourself. Or else a year's going to pass by. You'll be divorced. You won't be able to see your kids. Plus, you're going to be miserable and you're going to be out of shape. And all the vices you try to get rid of, you'll have back. So, do you want that?
No.
How old are you?
31.
Okay. You have a vast majority of your life left. This can be the point that you change everything and you change as a person. But you could also be the point where you dig into who you are and the things that are holding you down in your mindset and you just crumble. There's not one phrase I'm going to tell you that's going to save your marriage because there is none. The only thing you can work on, like you did not sign your wife up to this program to work on her. You signed you up to work on you.
Yeah.
But you're not doing the things that I want you to do. I said that from day one. I said if someone signs up for this program or says I want to be a good father and they're 100 pounds overweight and they're sitting on a couch with no energy, I'm going to say I'm not going to tell you a single thing until you get your ass in the gym because you're living a horrible model. The man you are is not a good person. Is not a good model. You have to fix the man you are. Then everything you touch will change.
Yeah.
If my mindset is making me toxic, negative, jealous, possessive, and controlling, and Joe says to me, "Hey, Chris, I read this book, read this chapter," and I read that chapter, is anything going to change? No, because I'm an asshole. And I'm going to tell my kids, like an asshole, I'm going to say, I read this thing in the parenting book that you should do, but I'm going to say it like an asshole because I'm an asshole. But if I fix me, then I'm not an asshole, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to tell you whether you should leave, whether you should go home, because I already told you what to do 30 days ago, right? When you were in a similar situation. That is, there's a million points I do not know in your situation right now. What I am going to tell you is you need to work on yourself, is you need to stop being controlling. I'm going to tell you what to do with your mindset right now. Stop trying to control things you can't control. Stop being possessive. Release your jealousy. Work on Tom being happy and loving himself because you don't love yourself right now. And if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to love you.
I never have loved myself, so
And until you do, everyone else is going to feel that. That is why you must build yourself into someone who you love and respect. And then you attract people to you. Get that tattooed on yourself. You must become someone who you love and respect first. Build yourself to build your family. That's on Rising Father marketing and everything. It's what it is here for. It's not tell your family what to do and then you're going to feel good. That's not what this is. It's build yourself to build your family. Let go of everything else you can't control. On one of our Zoom calls, we did a workshop where we had to imagine, what if your wife died? What if your kids died? Who are you? Are you happy with yourself? Okay, you missed that one. That would have been important for you. That could have helped you right now. Release the things you can't control and work on yourself. That is what I want you to do, Tom. Okay?
all right.
Don't think about anything else today. Stop trying to control things you can't control and work on you.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you for being open and honest and being able to take that and not run away from it, because many guys cannot handle feedback like that. Some guys, if they're told no, if they're told something they don't want to hear, they crumble, they cry, and they flip out.
Yeah, and I've been crying way too much, I could tell you that. Not who I want to be. So, um, I'll let you guys get to it. I have to get back to an appointment, but I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Glad you came on.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Woo! All righty. Not what I was going to start with, but I'm glad we did. Anyone else that you want to talk about, feel free. I'm like paused. So that will happen, right? Let's recap a little bit. If you buy this program, which is not cheap, it's not the most expensive either. There's some that are like 25,000. But if you buy this program and you do nothing that we asked you to do, right? You're not doing this program, you're doing your program. You're doing what you want to do and just thinking because I did this thing that everything's going to work out. No, everything is here for a reason. I worked out this past weekend with Darren. Occasionally, Darren and me get together to shoot some content. I just posted an awesome reel with him, and then Kenny lives like 15 minutes from me, so I said, "Hey, Kenny, come on down and shoot some content with us." So he drove down to the gym I go to. We shot some workout footage. Kenny is shredded, and we saw him at an event over the weekend for our dogs. Like our wives are friends, and he's there with his family, his kids, his wife's all over him, his kids are all over him. Everything for him has changed, his entire life. And I'm still we're gonna do a Zoom call with him because he just. And I was talking to Darren about this. We were at we were at dinner, and this was Kenny cut, and then it was like bulk day for him to refeed. After you do a cut, after you do phase one with us, and me and Darren say, okay, you're ready for the next level, or before a shoot, what you do is you can just kind of eat whatever that day and to refill your body. But it's a guided thing. Kenny was like, this isn't in my fitness pal. He's like freaking out. He follows things to a T. Even when we were at the gym photo session, he's like, am I going to do a trainerized workout? I was like, no, man, we're just going to do whatever. Like, he follows things to a T, which is why everything's changing for him. What happens is if you just overthink it or you're like, I don't feel like doing this, right? Like I had a guy say, I don't want to follow the workout program. I just want to do the first 4 weeks over and over and over again because that's what I want to do. Or then guess what? You're doing what you want to do. Then keep on doing what you want to do. If you want to keep on doing what you want to do, then why'd you join us anyway? This is to take on a new mindset, to take on new habits and strategies to push yourself. If things have to be easy, then what you want to accomplish must not be very big. If you want to make a massive change, then you have to go all in and sacrifice. You have to sacrifice if you want to make a massive change. So while you're here with us, trust the process, go all in, be flexible, be willing to make changes, and don't be stubborn and insist on doing things your way. Because if that's the case, your way has gotten to you where you are. Like me, whenever I was stuck, yeah, I knew the best way to be stuck. I only got unstuck once I started to listen to other people and take their ways. So do not join a place where you say, I want a new way of doing things, and then say, well, actually, I want to do everything my way. Be open, be flexible, humble yourself, drop the ego. Nothing has taken more guys out than ego. Is not being able to take feedback like Tom did so well. He just took tons of harsh feedback and truth, and he was able to question a lot of the way he was living, going through some shit right now, but he took it like a man. Because that, I'm hopeful for him. I think he's going to be able to make some changes, at least for himself. But have that open mindset. So we recorded some content, made an awesome reel just with some of the content we recorded this weekend. Darren was there, Kenny was there, and we're going to do our Tough Mudder event. It's going to be a small event. The Tough Mudder event is going to be a small event. It's kind of like anyone that wants to come down and do a Tough Mudder, we can do that. So that is 2 weeks from now, still open. If anyone wants to come, I can still order some tickets. We're staying at a farm. And we're all going to go down. We're going to do a Tough Mudder one day. We're going to hang out at the farm, have a bonfire, do some workshops, that kind of thing. And I'll share the content with everyone. I'll show you what's going on. So if anyone wants to, just reach out to me or Justin, and we'll get you hooked up. But it's here in Pittsburgh, so you have to come down to Pittsburgh to be able to do that. And the people that are going to be there, you're going to see made massive transformations within themselves physically in a lot of areas of their life. And to do that, you have to drop the ego. Okay. So what is that? I'm guilty too, guys. I am not perfect. I can be guilty of giving myself a big head, having an ego. We all are, especially as men. And what that is you have a vision of yourself that could be inaccurate, or it could be that it is a vision of yourself that thinks that nothing else could possibly be correct but what I think. Something like that. And the only way that, like, I have a business coach, I've got other coaches too. And for me to grow as a person, I have to say, all right, I'm going to accept this other way of thinking, these other thoughts. Like I said, me and Sarah reading marriage books to improve. I listen to podcasts, tons of Jim Rohn stuff, tons of other things that inspire me. Some Buddhist things that I'll take wisdom anywhere I can get it. But I have to drop the ego and say, I'm willing to grow here. This weekend, my son had to, check me a little bit. My daughter had to check me a little bit. My wife had to check me a little bit. That happens. And if I'm just super stubborn all the time and say, no, I don't care what you have to say, I am correct right now because I am me, then that is my ego getting in the way of me growing. I have to let myself grow, change, and not do whatever I want all the time. Here's a simple little situation of like my ego. I have to drop it. We live in a small house. Okay. It's probably like the size of Amin's shed in his backyard. I could, I could, like we could. And I told Sarah, like, I was like, we could move somewhere else. I want to like move to a bigger property, bigger house. And we can. I was like, we can sell this and move somewhere else. I am the only one who wants to do that. Sarah loves this house. Our kids love the house. They love our neighborhood. They love the schools. And for me, I'm like, I have this vision of like, oh, I'm going to go to this place. But that is only me and my ego. So what I've had to do this past year is like release that, not have control, and tell myself, nope, it's not about you. You want to be a husband and father that serves, it's about the family. So I've kind of had to, it's disappointing for me, but accept that, drop my ego and say, no, your family is happy here. You're okay here. And that's like one example of me having to drop my own ego and do that. Nathan had to kind of check me a little bit this weekend, because we were just out and about with the family, and I was being a little too strict with a situation that didn't need to be strict. And I was, saying, okay, do this, don't do that. And he was like, Dad, it's not that big of a deal. I was like, okay, you're right. I was overreacting. I was hot for a moment. It's not that big of a deal. And he was able to check me right there. And because I was able to drop the ego, I was able to change. If I can't drop the ego, I cannot change. I'm going to circle around to some other things, but I want to hear from some of you guys because we started off in a direction I wasn't going, and then we kind of circled around. So I want to hear from a few of you to see how you're doing, see what problems you're going through, how you're stuck, and to see what progress or not progress you're making. And this is open and honesty time. Like we could all talk about it together. Okay, what do we need to do? You're here to get disciplined, to get routines in your life, to reach your potential, to get in great shape, to help your marriage, to help your parenting. So, what in those areas right now are you struggling? Let's see. I have to. Who said? Who is the iPhone 2? Give me a name. iPhone 2. I don't know who that is. Kenny. All right. I have to win my wife back almost every day. It's part of life for all of our wives every day. There's no other way, Kenny. Yeah. Um, and Kenny is super open and honest about the state of that his marriage was. Like on his testimonial that he gave us at the retreat, he's just bears his soul and says like, yeah, we almost didn't make it. And for him, I feel like Kenny's fighting for that every single day. Like today, he didn't wake up and say, "Yeah, I did good yesterday. I took him to the dog thing, so I'm good today. I don't have to worry about that." I really, really admire that. Like every single day, fighting for it. Absolutely. What are some other things you are struggling with, guys? How can we help you right now? Anything, big, small. Don't let it go unsaid. Nick, let's hear it.
All right, can you hear me?
Got it.
All right. So um I am now coming up on completing my second month, and I hit a roadblock 3 weeks ago uh while I was working out, got a lower back injury. Um and it kind of wrecked me. Uh you know, I wasn't seeing a lot of movement on the scale, but I was committed. My wife, I'm not really expecting to see a whole lot of change in her. Um, I know I'm doing this for myself, and so I'm not expecting. I'm not going to gauge my success by whether she's giving me kudos or anything. Um, but it's definitely been worse since I got injured, because now she's like, I'm not able to work out. She's like, okay, are you backsliding? And are you going to lose your momentum? And so while I was trying to maintain the right headspace for myself, to be like, okay, I got to get my back better so I can get back into working out. I was trying to eat. I wish I could say that I was staying on program. Honestly, I felt like I wasn't able to do. I was laid up for the first week. I couldn't hardly even get out of bed. So I'm like, I I can't warrant, eating 3 squares a day when I'm barely getting any movement. So I was kind of limiting my intake of food. I didn't reach out. I wish I would have, to find out what would the best course of action be, when you experience something like this. But I today was my first day back to work out. 3 weeks. I was out for 3 weeks, and multiple times I had to listen to my wife basically invoke her fears of that. You're going to become that old person again.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could say I made it through unscathed, but realistically, my wife's words are sharper than a razor
Yep.
sometimes, because it's somebody that's important to me and I care what she thinks. And so I tried to deal with it, and like I said, I started working out today. I got back on program last Thursday. So I'm gonna keep going with the program. I feel like I owe it to myself. But I did reach out to my pod a couple of times, and they had some really good wisdom, and they kind of helped me through it. But I wish I would have reached out to the group more, because this is new to me. I've never done workouts like this. Even the military, it's not. This isn't the same thing as the kind of workouts in the military. And um, so yeah, I don't know if I did it right, but I made it through it. Um, so I'm gonna call it a success.
That is a success. That is doing it right. Making it through it is doing it right, Nick, because what gets guys is when they go through a struggle like you do, and then they drop out completely and you never see them again. And then nothing changes. Like the guys who are ultimately successful in the end, because this type of program isn't just like six pack CEO or just work on your biceps. It's whole life, man. Like the problems that you and all of us go through that we're working on in here are really deep, hard things like marriage, discipline, parenting. So whenever you go through a struggle like that, it hurts you in your soul a little bit. It hurts you really deep down. And some of
I
us,
did.
yeah, like no, nothing can cut us deeper than the things our wives say to us. That's the truth. That's the power they hold over us. Like you could be killing it for 4 months, and then your wife says, like, oh, you think you're something, and it just cuts you deep. So that thing that they say can be the thing that knocks you back, or it could just, if you can get through it and you just keep on going, you just got stronger. Like the deeper the wound that you recover from, the stronger that scar is going to be. The thicker the scar is and the more strength that you have. The guys that are ultimately successful are the ones who have setbacks, you need setbacks, and then continue through them. You cannot do this for 12 months and not have any obstacles or hurdles. Will not happen. Especially if you want to work on your marriage and relationships. Like physical setbacks are more easily overcome than relationship setbacks for sure. I know many people in the program are, because we've been here, some of us have been here for so long, are going through some physical setbacks. This is the way it happens. If you're working out, you're active for 12 months, then you're going to have some injuries. I've got 3 different injuries right now. I know Amin has some injuries. I know lots of guys in here have injuries they're going through. Your strength will be strengthened, will be built whenever you have those injuries and you find ways to be flexible and adaptable and keep on going. Same thing with the marriage and the relationships. You're going to have some issues. You're not the only one, Nick, because every guy goes through this, especially ones that, join for marriage, or you earn the state of where you are. Like you earned that comment from your wife, right? It's the truth. You earned it. So just take it, allow your feelings to be hurt, say, okay, and then keep going. And then just keep going. Allow them to be hurt again when she says something else and say, okay, I get it. Don't have any emotional reaction. Don't have any reaction. And just keep on going. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Because each time you do that, you're proving not only to her, but you're proving to yourself that you are a new man. If our wives give us those testing type of comments and we just crumble, then we're proving them right. And we're proving to ourselves that, oh, we weren't serious about this. And sometimes like just that's the way ladies are sometimes. Sometimes our wives say those things to us to see if we are serious. They know it's going to hurt. And they want to say, oh, is this actually a change? And if we crumble to those things, then we're confirming their fears. So it's totally okay that that hurts. Many guys in here have experienced similar things, but you just keep on going. Expect setbacks, expect obstacles. But what you did today, what you're doing right now is you said, okay, 3 weeks, I was kind of out of it. I wish I wouldn't have been, but I'm back and I'm back in the program. That is the win. That is the win. Not allowing your ego to crumble you, to crush you. Because you can say, oh, this isn't working for me. Things are imperfect right now, so I'm done. I'm just going to go back to the way life is. You could have done that. Say, no, I need to get back into it, so I'm back into it. So nice work. That's totally to be expected.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, man. Day at a time. Joseph, what you got? I'm gonna have you talk, but I also need to plug my laptop in. It says my laptop's gonna die. But Joseph, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Chris. So for me, it's yeah, I think it's a discipline thing. I mean, I've been going for 2 weeks now, with Rising Father, and I'm loving it. I need to get on top of my macros. I've been going to the gym every day, and I'm loving the gym, but I'm struggling in the gym as well. It's like the bit that I'm struggling with is I'm feeling guilty that I've not been going to, I've not been looking after myself for so many years, and it's like now it's difficult, it's like doing my exercises and just doing my cycling, doing my running. I I get I've got like I'm using the lightest weights. It's like I'm I feel like a bit of a fool when I'm doing the weights and I'm doing the running. I'm like finishing. Everyone else is going on and on and on, and it's like my stamina is. So it's like I think for me, I'm quite impatient with myself. I'm feeling a bit guilty that I haven't done it for so long. I've also, I was talking to my brother about it yesterday. He said he used to just get bored when he was in the gym. And I'm just now conscious that am I going to get bored? Do you know? And then I'm just going to lose interest and I'm going to drop out. So, yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I guess I'm hitting a bit of a plateau or something. Um, yeah, I'm just not sure how to push through. It's totally a discipline thing. And I know it's like one day at a time. But it's just, I'd like to be a little bit further down the road, like seeing some of the guys posting and I'm like, 100 press ups. Like, if I manage like 10, 20 press ups, I'm like, that's a good day. So yeah. Just I guess it's just patience at the minute, patience and discipline. I'm
Joseph, how long have
struggling
you
with.
been with
Yeah.
us?
2 weeks now, Chris.
2 weeks. How old are you?
Yeah. I'm 43.
Okay. How long has it been since you worked out seriously and took your health seriously?
I don't know if I ever have done, Chris, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
I
went
played
40,
football when I was
43 years not doing anything. We're 2 weeks in. What was the thing that I talked about? The one thing that cripples guys starts 3 letters. Starts with an E. G.
Ego.
Ego. You feel like you should be somewhere that you should not be at all. You have these, like right now, everything you just said, you said you feel like you should be further along. You're disappointed in yourself. It was all these expectations that you put on yourself that aren't anywhere close to where you should be right now. So like you're tying a lot of value and identity to an external result of a place that may or may not come down the future. Instead of saying, I'm valuing myself because of the habits and discipline I am building. As long as Your happiness and self-confidence and self-love and respect is tied to a number on the scale, or I can see, someone else is doing 100 push-ups. I only did 15. You are always going to be in a state of sadness, of lack of self-respect. You have to feel confidence and self-love from the things you're doing every single day. Like, I got up on time. I did my morning routine. You are in the infancy of this. No, you haven't hit a plateau. What you're doing right now is you're hitting a threshold of you're battling yourself. Like right now, you're starting to be tested by yourself now. Because I bet in the past, when you tried to start something like this, you probably got these thoughts and maybe you just talked yourself out of it. But that's why that we don't just send you on your way with a PDF of workouts. That's why we're talking about this right now. Because these are the things that hold guys back, are these internal bullshit voices of I should be blank. I should be doing blank. No, you are exactly where you should be right now. Exactly where you should be. No further along, no further back. Have you lost any weight with us so far in 2 weeks?
I haven't actually checked, to be honest, man. I've bought some boxes to start with my food. I've just been focusing on getting to the gym every morning, and I haven't fully taken on my I had my macros set up wrong, so I've got the macros down right now. I've got a
All
load
right.
of meat
So
in
you
the fridge.
haven't
Yeah,
even started the program yet, basically.
basically.
If you haven't even weighed
Yeah.
yourself yet. So get a scale, start weighing yourself, do the macros, do the weekly check-ins. I think you have done some weekly check-ins.
I did my first one yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. Start taking photos of yourself, start weighing yourself, do the macros. You won't make any progress if you don't follow the macros. And all that stuff are the details. So here's what's going to happen. Like, I'm guilty of this too, and that's getting lost in the weeds, and that is making things way too complicated. And a lot of times, if you're an intelligent guy, if you're an artistic guy, that can happen. And like, that's me. Like, I can be creative. I can outthink myself. You need to just follow the plan and not question. Like, because if you do that from day one, I bet if you weighed yourself, you'd be down like 5-6 pounds already. If you followed the macros to the T, did every single thing, didn't question, just did it, just follow the play and don't think about it. That's all you have to do. What happens is whenever you don't do those things and then you start to question yourself, then you just become your own worst enemy, your own worst salesman, and just instead of taking action, all you're doing is thinking about what I could be doing, what I could not be doing, and you just get stuck. I've been that. That's why I have to make lists. That's why I time block and write what I do, because otherwise I'm just stuck in this like hell of not doing anything and just thinking. That's me. Like, I can be totally stuck in inaction and just thinking. So steps for you. I'm glad you came and brought this up. Macros, weigh yourself, weekly check-ins, take pictures, just do exactly what we tell you to do. Okay. Take pictures of yourself, start weighing yourself, do the program, and don't worry. Like, a win for you is I did it. That needs to be the win in your brain, is I completed the things I was supposed to do. If the win in your brain is tied to something you can't control, such as a number on the scale or something off, see you, Amin, then you have no control over your self-fulfillment and happiness, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen on the scale, but you do have control over what you can do today and what you do right now. So the win in your brain has to be, I did the program. I did the things. I did my macros. I did the workouts. If I did that, it is a win.
Yeah, I get that.
Eliminate everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I can do that, man.
Perfect. Simplify. Marco,
Thank
what you
you.
got? Absolutely.
Yeah, Chris, everyone. I guess for me, it's a bit of a mix between, like I'm kind of farther along than Joseph, but also I've been kind of not following things as I should for the past few weeks. In a way, I'm kind of positive that I've been pretty much I've been away for 2 months from home, been in Spain, kind of like working from there or holidays and all of that. So it changed the routine and changed the environment we had for like family and so on. I managed to still, go to the gym regularly. Like I changed to places in Spain, found a gym, go to the gym. So that all worked relatively well. The macros and the food part was what I struggled the most. I have to say, like like last year, it would have been very different in terms of, yeah, let's have a beer, or let's have a glass of wine, or yeah, let's eat ice cream. Like you have like the fridge full of ice cream. My daughter will get an ice cream every day after lunch and so on. So in that sense, I was like, pretty good. Like I don't think I had like an ice cream or like, maybe like a beer, like light beer here and there. But I'm glad that like since last week, I'm back home, so I'm kind of committing myself and like getting the discipline back to wake up in the morning. Straight away the next day I was after I was back, went to my local gym, kept going there, and kind of focusing more on the macros. Also, like haven't got to the stage of like the food prepping and everything, and I think that's part of the issue. I like I had the call with Darren, which was great, but like yeah, like having like the uh, protein shakes and protein bars and all that, it's handy, but it's also not the best option always. Um, Interesting to see like how you can get the carbs and so on. So yeah, I'm kind of committing to um working on the macros, also like in terms of the checklist. Um, it's easy to fall out of the routine of like every night posting things and so on. I need to get back into that. In terms of like the marriage part or the father part, it's been fine. It's working well. I think it's improving, but it's also something that it needs continuous work, continuous focus. So yeah.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I love that just no matter what, you have you just have a positive attitude, because that impacts every single thing that you're going to interact with, is that things are going to work out and your things are going to be okay and you're going to improve. Glad you're back and where you can have a normal routine. And same thing I told Joseph is just do the basics, just stick to the plan, just run the play. You don't have to overthink anything. Just do exactly what the program says, and that's it. You don't have to, don't let yourself get overwhelmed by anything. Just follow the play. Posting the accountability at the end of the day takes 5 seconds. Just do that. Other than that, that in terms of like posting things, that's it. Just hey, I'm posting this, and then do the workouts and macros. And that's all you got to do. But it's the consistency that matters. It's being consistent over weeks and months where the changes are going to be. If you go hog wild for 1 week and then are off it for 3 or 4 weeks, then you're gonna fall back into those old patterns.
Yeah.
So just
And I meant to say as well, also like one of the reasons I joined was to improve in terms of my marriage, and in terms of like tend to be like snappy to my wife, and probably the ego, the part of expecting her to understand that I'm busy, that I need to work, that expecting her to be kind of more accommodating and everything. And overall, that has like all the routines and like the checklist have helped a lot, but also in terms of changing my mindset a little bit, being more patient, more calm, and so on. And like this summer, there have been like situations that were like tense, with my wife, family, and so on, not between us, and I felt that it helped a lot. Kind of kept focus, kept kind of focusing on the right decision, the right direction for our family.
awesome. Yeah, and just talking through it, like talking through these things and ideas from other guys is going to do that. Like you can hear wisdom from anyone on this call that might change the way you talk to your wife today. And then if that happens, boom, your marriage is improved. Thank you, man. Jay, what you got, brother?
So I wanted to give Joseph, I think, what credit for like sharing about like what he said about like feeling, I forgot what word, like what emotion it was, but like the lifting of the lightest weights. That hit home for me because right now I'm dating, like I'm I've been a single dad for like, I wasn't even married to my co-parent. So like serious relationships are not something I'm used to, something that I've like actively avoided them. I've been casually dating, casually sexing for my whole life. And so when he said something about like lifting the lightest weights possible, like it helped me be like something I want to get better at is like I'm dating a woman now, and like we're actively dating. We're like we were friends with benefits. We're like trying to take that jump to a real relationship. And it's like little things that like hugging her in public, and like we haven't even held hands in public. And I'm like, I'm saying these things out loud now, and I'm like, that's like the lightest weight possible. Like that's like the smallest thing I could possibly do to like build a strong relationship, or like to like I've tried to like text her things that like when I'm thinking about specific things, like today I just told her it was like really great that I don't have to coach her. Like as a co-parenting coach, not having to coach you is like the best thing ever. But it's like, so Joseph, or like what I'm struggling with, like being such a beginner at relationships, and like it's humbling, man. Like it is not fun being this new at something at 36. Like it is humbling. It is I half the time I'm like, why are you so bad at this? But then like I have to allow it to, and she's so great about letting me be where I'm at. But like, man, that hit home when he said like the lightest weights possible, because it's like that's what I feel like I've been doing in this relationship. I just feel like I'm over here like with these 5 pound, like I'll hug you in public, like I'll do that. And it's like, so I feel it. I feel what he said so deeply.
Do you feel like you're lifting the lightest weights in your relationship?
Yeah.
It's a really good
Yeah.
metaphor.
And that's like for, and I'm not gonna lie, before he talked, I was gonna come on and be like, you know what, things are really good, because the rest of life is really good. My business is really good. My health is really good. I've gained like 5 pounds of muscle, and I'm one of the guys that's like trying to gain weight. So
Mhm.
like counting, like I'm like my protein intake has like skyrocketed, and I can tell that was what was missing. That was a huge part of never being able to gain weight. So I just really appreciate him sharing, because it like really was like, no, bro, like you're not 10 out of 10 everywhere. Like there are places to grow. There are places like you don't try to front like you've got it all figured out. Like you can't even hug you don't even know if she's your girlfriend. So it's like I appreciate just how humble he was to like say that out loud. Like that was cool to hear, man.
Do you want to lift heavier weights? Or are you going to stick with the light weights?
I want to be like I used to be a romantic little teenager. I used to be like buying girls flowers, and like I used to be super romantic. Like I used to like do overtures and like big gestures, and like I used to write poetry, dude. Like I was a I like really distanced myself from like a lot of that, to like kind of put up these like tough walls of like I'm a player, and not even like that. I was like the I'm a good guy. That's how I'll sleep with you. Like that was my card. Is that like I'm emotionally competent. I'm good looking. I'm a great dad. So I could basically whenever I wanted to sleep with somebody, and it's like to move away from that identity and come into like I'm gonna try to commit to one person. And like that means like yesterday we had this like super honest conversation, and it was like I could tell you these things, and you could just decide to go after we talk. Like there were some things that I was like feeling and thinking and being anxious about, that like in my head before we talked, I wouldn't have been surprised if she left. I would have been upset, but like it's like slowly letting myself be vulnerable, be scared, be open. And it's a challenge, and I love challenges, and I'm going to keep doing it. But it's like, man, it just sometimes it's like You guys do this all the time? Like you guys that are married have to like do this all the time for decades? Like fuck, dude,
And
good
failing
job.
over and over and over and over again.
Pat your guys' selves on the back if this is what you're here for, like what you're doing, because it is humbling for me, I will tell you that.
And that just shows you, like, everyone in here is working on something else. I mean, that is, I mean, guys are going to listen to you and be like, man, I wish I had that problem. be so attractive and nice that you just don't have a problem sleeping with ladies.
But I appreciate that, but it's like, man, it's and it's not even the whole empty thing. It's just you get what this group has really helped me with is like I had optimized business, and like now I'm learning to optimize my body, and it's like sleeping with people like that wasn't optimal in any form or fashion.
Yeah.
Like I never felt better afterwards. I never felt like it was really just feeling like a void. And I got really good at it, and I got really good at telling my story that it was okay. Like I got good at talking to myself that it
Mhm.
was fun. And at times it was, but like what I can see myself and what I'm capable of now, it's like, bro, you haven't even like tried with relationships. Like what it's almost like, what the fuck, dude? Like you haven't even tried. Like you can't say that you don't like them or they're not good for you because you haven't even given it a real shot.
And I think that, like, you're showing that as you improve it's not like an isolated bubble. Like, you're working on yourself as a person, and as you're becoming more true to yourself and liking who you are, then you're starting to see these other areas of your life where, like, oh, I can level that up a little bit too. Like, you can't get extremely disciplined and optimize, say, your body, and then if one area of your life is sloppy, not address that as well. Like, discipline spreads everywhere, and I truly believe a lack of discipline spreads also. And as you're improving yourself, you're starting to, like, just level all these little areas up like a rising tide. Well, keep us updated. I want to see some heavier weights in the relationship, man. I want that to happen while you're here.
I will let you know. She's really like she's stuck around, and I feel like we're gonna have one of those stories where it's like she will be able to give me so much shit for how long it took me to get here. And I already appreciate that she's willing. I couldn't be with somebody who couldn't give me shit about that because it just taken me quite some time. So I appreciate that, man. I'll let you guys. I'll keep it. I'll keep the stories coming.
Thank you for sharing, brother. Melvin, what you got, my man?
Okay, sorry, had to unmute myself. Thanks, Chris. So yeah, I just wanted to just quick give feedback on myself. Past 2 weeks, I think I've been a bit inconsistent with the workouts, but my wake up times, my macros, I've been staying honest to it and been following it to the best. The biggest struggle is just because of having to pivot within the house, just because my wife's been busy with her planning for her sister's wedding, and she has to be out and about most of the time. So having to look after the kids and also kind of helping her out has been the bigger part. So I my goal starting in August was to at least get to drop another 4 to 5 kgs. I just managed to drop 2. So kind of been struggling with that, being consistent with the workouts. I think even twice when I submitted my forms or updates, it's just been probably a day or two where I managed to do versus 7. And I've always been like trying to push it out for later in the night when everybody's done, but then it's too late so that I'm getting late for work. So I don't know what should I do, just because the past 3 weeks that was a struggle, and I feel that September is going to be the same challenge, because the wedding's not happening until October, and the kids have been keeping me on my toes as well, asking, take me out here, take me out there, consistently in the evening. So I've never got like some alone time for me in the past 2 or 3 weeks. Just it's either trying to help out with the family in each area. So it's just been that kind of challenge, but I feel that I've been present for them So there are wins where I can say like I've been present for them, taken my wife out for a date night after maybe like 6, 7 years. I've never taken her out before, just without the kids. So that's a big win. Couple of M6s, helping consistently with the house chores, and the kids never give up. So I've leveled up some areas, just the consistency around making my workouts consistent to get where I am. So I'm definitely seeing results that people are noticing as well, changes in me, which they're saying is positive. I just don't want to get comfortable and lose sight of that progress I've made.
Mm-hmm. So you need to up your consistency, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm struggling, and I'm just trying to help out as much. I can't say no to them right now. Been waking up early, going a few days, but then some days when I have to just make sure, like, okay, all the breakfast is done, and then making sure the kids are also taken out. So by then I'm like losing track of kind of making completing my workout, or um, even when I pivot for some days to do it later in the evening, I don't end up doing just because time runs out and I'm like, oh my God, should I be working at 10 in the night and then waking up early for work?
Yeah. So you just need to get more organized, man. Do you time block?
Mhm. I do time blocking. So I do for the first few days. I don't end up doing for the whole week because it's a challenge. It always keeps changing. I end up doing for a day or two, and I think it definitely works. And whenever time blocking has been done, I think I'll do more successfully. Yeah.
Yeah. So use the system. You have a lack of systems. That's all. You know, you're kind of going into your day and seeing what happens. You know, you should never be in a position where your day happens. You're like, well, I got to fit my workout in somewhere. Everything the night before, you should already your entire next day should already be finished before you go to sleep the night before. Meaning, you know when you're going to work on
Mm,
business, you know when you're going to wake up, you know when you're going to work out, you know when you're going to prep your food, you know when you're going to talk, you're going to have family time. That is the system. That is what we do with the time blocking tool and the schedule and scheduling. So I just don't worry about a bunch of other things. Just do this. Okay, we'll keep it simple. Tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to plan out your next day. So, and also communicate with your wife so that you know when everything needs to happen, right? So communicate with your wife logistically. Where do I have to go? What has to be done so that you can plan tomorrow before you go to sleep tonight with everything that has to happen tomorrow. So tomorrow you don't wake up, see you, Marco, and you're like, oh, let's see what happens. But you have to do that every day. But don't worry about 20 days from now
mm,
if it's gonna work out, whatever. Just do it tonight for tomorrow. And then let us know
mm,
tomorrow how it worked out, and then we're gonna do it again the next day. Okay?
yeah.
That's all it is.
Okay. I mean, it's just never have been, yeah, I never been able to say no. Like I need to do my stuff before I close off for the night. I'm always trying to make sure the kids get their stuff done, put into bed. While my wife is still working out with my sister-in-laws with getting all the planning done, right? So it's kind of a daily thing. So I'm kind of stretching my routine and sleeping late, and all my stuff is getting pushed out. So
So you got
it's
to
kind of
stop
a
that.
challenge. Yeah.
You got to prioritize your schedule. Your schedule needs to be written in stone. But you also make time for your family and other people in your schedule. So you're gonna time block your schedule and make sure your wife is aware. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Or we're both good with this, right? And then you go to sleep and you follow it. And then there's no deviation. Okay. I go to sleep at nine
Yeah.
o'clock. My
But
son, my son, a couple of days ago, he was like, Dad, please, can we stay up later? Please, can we stay up later? I said, Nope, I'm in bed at 9. And I went to bed at 9.
yeah,
I had to tell him no.
yeah, that's the tough part where I've not been able to
Well, that's what you got
just
to
say
do.
no.
That's what I'm telling you to do. You got to say no. If you say yes to
Yeah,
everyone, you're saying no to yourself. And you can give a better you
yeah,
to other people if you say yes to yourself.
yeah.
Right?
Thanks. Thanks, Chris.
You got it. All right, guys. We are an hour and 15 minutes into this, so I'm going to end it. Nice seeing everybody. Talk to you soon.